Over the past couple of days, there's suddenly been an influx of updates in the Gene Hackman case. And personally, I love to see it. Because even though I've been covering other stories, this case has still been weighing heavily on my mind because I don't feel like we got any real closure. The investigation is not necessarily officially over. We know some of the info we've gotten has been wrong. And look, I just don't feel comfortable with how this investigation was handled. But oh well, it is what it is. But I am glad now that we're starting to get some information. And as you guys know, previously they have released body cam footage from the outside of Gene Hackman's home. Body cam footage of law enforcement talking to the people who found Gene Hackman and his wife. We've seen the clips. I've put out several videos about that on this channel, but now they have just released body cam footage from inside of Gene Hackman's home. And there's certain parts that are blurred out for obvious reasons because Gene Hackman and his wife are lying on the ground in the body cam footage. I'm going to go ahead and warn you. And let me say this because I'm going to show you guys the footage. But I see a lot of people being judgmental online. I see people saying mean things because Gene Hackman's house was somewhat in disarray. It was kind of messy, kind of dirty or whatever. But keep in mind that Gene Hackman was 95 years old. He wasn't able to clean and really help himself. He needed help just getting around. Also, he had Alzheimer's, so he was most likely moving clothes and leaving things all over the place. And then you have Betsy, who isn't necessarily a spring chicken herself. She's 65. And she refused to have anyone come in their house and help. Even though they were worth millions and millions of dollars, she did not have any maids, any housekeepers, none of that. Because she was raised in a way where she feels like it's her job to take care of her man, to do the cooking, to do the cleaning, to take care of the property. And that's what she did. You know, that's part of her culture. So she didn't want anyone else in her house cleaning up and fidgeting around. She wanted to do it all herself. But as we know, Betsy was ignoring her own health, so caught up and worried about Gene, because Gene's health was deteriorating. He was getting worse off. He was supposedly forgetting things. She was also really scared about the beer bug or, the pandemic and all of that other stuff. I don't even want to go into the words and phrases and stuff used there because YouTube likes to shadow ban videos that mention that stuff. But she was really freaked out after the lockdowns, so she didn't really want to be around anyone. So understand that when you see their house, it might not be in the pristine condition that you would imagine, and it's because of obvious reasons, some of the reasons that I listed here. Now, before I play this footage, people often ask, how can they support the channel? And the answer to that question is very simple. You can support the channel in multiple ways. You can support the channel for free by simply liking the video, sharing the video on social media, and dropping a comment below and becoming part of the conversation. But if you want to take your support one step further, you could always send a super thanks or a Cash App. It's always greatly appreciated. Now, with that being said, let's go ahead and play this body cam footage. As you watch it, if you notice anything weird, if you notice anything suspicious, be sure to let us know down in the comments. And then after this clip, I'll be right back with more thoughts of my own.
Right here, he's guarding her.
The dog?
Yeah, AC went up to him. He seems pretty friendly, but... And then there's
Hey,
another
Baba.
10-7 dog around the corner in the kennel.
That looks really weird. When's the last time you heard from her?
2.5 weeks ago.
Is he gonna do anything?
AC one in there.
You want me to go in first?
Yeah. Hey, buddy.
I guess Kano's gonna come down as well.
Okay. Huh. Let's try to open a couple windows if we can, just in case. Hey, Baba.
Right there.
Where's he?
He's actually, I don't know how to get there through here. If we walk back outside, there's another door.
So he's in a totally separate spot.
Yeah.
Way separate. Like
Yeah.
he's on that side of the
He's
house.
like upstairs.
Upstairs.
Relatively clean. Something smells a little funky in here. I just want to make sure it's not like a gas leak.
He's been down for a while.
Did you guys start photos and stuff?
No, I haven't taken photos yet.
Two totally separate areas.
No, it's strange.
First off, let me just say that I apologize if I sound weird in this video. I'm sick right now, congested. I cannot breathe out of my nose, and my throat is really sore, and it kind of hurts to talk. So bear with me, folks. But watching this body cam footage is so sad. I don't know. Listen, I've seen all types of stuff. I've seen all types of body cam footage. I've covered all types of stories. Seeing Betsy's dog right there just never left her side. And just knowing that dog was right there by her side for days and days and days as she laid there on the ground. It's so freaking heartbreaking. And then thinking about the fact that another dog that loves Betsy to death is locked in that closet right there in a kennel and didn't make it. I mean, it's just really sad. The whole situation is sad, but, you know, seeing law enforcement walk into the situation and seeing that the dog was like, it didn't want to leave Betsy's side. And listen, a German Shepherd like that, usually if some strangers come walking in, that dog is going to be defensive. I guarantee you that if Betsy was alive and 3 random people came walking through that door, that dog would not have the same reaction. That dog was laying down, being really nice and obedient, not really scared or worried about the intruders because the dog knew that its mama, Betsy, needed help. A German Shepherd like that usually wouldn't let you walk through that door. Not at least without, you know, some barking, a little aggressive behavior. But the dog knew that his owners needed help. So the dog laid there in like a more of a submissive posture, hoping that the people who were here were here to help his mama, who'd been on the ground for days on end. So freaking sad. Now, obviously there was a little jump in the body cam footage, so I couldn't get a good feel of how far Betsy was away from Gene Hackman. Because when this story initially broke, they made it seem like Gene Hackman wasn't too terribly far away from Betsy, right? But we know they got a big house. We know they got a big property. From the body cam footage, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but from the body cam footage, it almost seems like Gene was a little further away from Betsy than I imagined. Like, I knew they weren't in the same room. Trust me, I know the details. I just thought that they were a little closer. Now, maybe they were, and just because the body cam footage kind of shuts off for a second, maybe it just seems like they're farther away. I don't know. But it kind of felt like from the body cam footage that they were on opposite ends of the house. Right? But like I said, maybe I'm wrong. Listen, I'm sick, okay? I can't sit here and go through the body cam footage in the way that I can when I'm fully healthy. But one thing that stuck out to me, and this is not a big deal, but you can see where Gene Hackman is laying. There's steps right there. The cop, as the cop is walking in with the body cam, you can see the cop, step up. I think it's just like 2 or 3 steps. And I think there's a possibility that Gene may have fell down those 1 or 2 or 3 steps and never got back up again. Because, from what law enforcement says, from what the investigators say, Gene Hackman was alive for days on end after Betsy died. So either Gene was walking around the house and his mind was too far gone to really know what in the hell was going on, or Gene maybe did try to go get help and then he fell himself in the process down those little steps and never got back up. Either way, he wasn't dehydrated. So that lets you know that at some point, when Betsy was gone, it seems like maybe he was drinking water or something at least. But hey, what do I know? All I know is that the autopsy said that he was not dehydrated. No food in the stomach, but he was not dehydrated. If he was laying on the ground for days on end, you would think that he would be dehydrated. But hey, I'm just going off the details that we've been given. So I don't know what's more tragic. That Gene could have went for help in that moment and fell down and was powerless, not only to help his wife, but to help himself? Or was Gene walking around the house for days? Maybe he would discover Betsy. He would get emotional. Oh my God, my dear wife lying here on the floor. And then by the time he goes to the phone, he forgets it even happened. Because supposedly he was dealing with advanced Alzheimer's. So there's a possibility that he would discover his wife. His heart would break. He would realize the problem. And by the time he would go get help, he would forget what he's getting help for. And this scenario could have played out multiple times throughout the day. For over a week. Just day after day, he rediscovers his wife's body. Oh my God, his heart breaks, goes to get help, forgets what he's getting help for, or forgets to get help in the process. Let me run to the phone. Doesn't make it to the phone because he forgot what happened. Let me get in the car and go get help. Doesn't make it to the car. He forgets what happened. I don't know. That's how I'm looking at the situation. And that feels like a freaking nightmare, like a horror movie. But this is not everything that's been released. There's more stuff I'm going to go over in future videos, so subscribe if you haven't already. Please ring the notification bell. It's very important. YouTube hardly notifies people when I upload anyway. Please ring the notification bell so you can be notified of my uploads. But with all of that being said, drop a comment, like the video, and I'll talk to you all soon in the next one.